The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary Related Entertainment.
Aloha and welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes. Now in our 10th year of broadcasting each week, we continue talking story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support the needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's cabinet and appliance showroom located in the Waikapu Bayshard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. During this hour, we share some of the experiences of our nonprofit agencies and just how they're changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those with needs. Today we're going to start off the show talking with some folks from Parents and Children's Together. Do you go by PACT very often?
We do, but our newest branding is the full name, Parents and Children Together.
Yeah, it's kind of close to somebody else's.
Yeah, that's
so it's probably a good idea. Yeah, great. The voice you just heard is Ken Hunt, who's the Maui Assistant Program Director, and he's brought one of the staff people with him.
Aloha, my name's Carol Vida Araneki.
and we're going to be talking about some of the programs that Parents and Children do. Parents and Children Together do here on Maui. You're pretty much a statewide organization with a Maui office. Is that kind of the way it's set up?
That is correct. Our central office is in Honolulu, but we have services and programs on each island except for Ni'ihau, I guess.
Really? You're on Lanai and Molokai?
That's right.
As well?
Yeah.
With offices? Or
no. On
you
Lanai,
go there?
On Lanai, we do have an office, but on Molokai, we have a therapist who provides services on the island.
I see.
Yeah.
And so primarily what services would be appropriate for those two islands with the staffing you have?
On Molokai, it's called our multi-systemic therapy program, and we have a therapist who works with parents of juveniles age 11 to 17 and a half who have some severe behavioral problems. And the therapists help to work with the parents to try to gain better control of their household and try to control a bit better the behaviors of their juveniles in the home while they're there. And our therapists are on call 24/7 to that family for a period of about 5 months.
I see. Wow. Is something like that, and this is kind of an off-the-wall question, it just popped into my head, and I'm going to ask it. I may regret it, but I'm going to ask it. Is this behavior, is it something that would be, if a family has 4 or 5 children, they would all have this kind of a tendency? Or can it be, or is it mostly just one that suddenly, or not suddenly, but it comes on and becomes a problem?
One of the things that I'm a former MST therapist, so I did have some experience working with families that have multiple children, various ages. And typically, again, the program serves the juvenile age that I mentioned. However, you'll see the impact and the effects of that behavior trickling down to the younger kids as well. So they're kind of emulating the behavior because they're learning it.
Right.
And not only that, but they're also emulating some of the behavior of the parents, which is often what occurs in a household of this size.
So the response to that question is kind of both.
Yeah.
That when something is starting to appear to be out of whack, they need attention quickly.
Right.
Or it can spread throughout the family.
The other thing to remember, though, is that each child is an individual person on their own.
Right.
So they will develop their own characteristics and behaviors depending upon the environment that they grew up in, their age, their level of maturity, and so forth. But again, living in a close-knit household, and our households here are very much close-knit because of the environment.
Right.
It can be very, very difficult and challenging for a parent to maintain a household at that level.
So if a parent sees something changing or this behavior starting to come into the household, we'll put it that way, where do they turn? Do they call you directly, or do they have to go through some process to be able to access your services?
There's a number of different ways they can achieve or attain our services. One is they can go through the schools that the kids are attending, typically through the counselors, who can then make a referral to the Department of Health, and specifically for the MSD program. They can make a referral to the Department of Health for kids who are that age range where their behaviors are pretty much extreme. For other kids who are having, for instance, anger issues or just acting out issues, we also have a program which we call our HALPOA program, which serves kids from anywhere from about 6 years of age up to 18, where we can put them into a group of other kids that are having similar challenges and have them into our program for a 1-day, 6-hour-long program, a 4-week program, or even a 10-week program, if that's something that they can, that will help them. Those referrals can come through self-referral, they can come through parents directly, they can come through Maui Police Department, or juvenile probation.
Interesting. Now, is that something that the staff that you have on the neighbor islands can work with as well?
Yeah, not for Molokai, but
Okay.
over on Lanai, we do have children who've been exposed to violence, which is typically the younger kids, and we have services for the parents who have children in this age range to help them with parenting. And some of them may be victims of domestic violence, and we have programs for the victims as well as batterer programs for those who are what we call our perpetrators.
Gotcha. You cover all bases.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, reasonably speaking, that's where you have to be. You cannot fix one part of the problem, because if the other 3 parts still exist, that fix won't last.
That's correct. Yeah, there's a lot of environmental factors that come into play, a lot of potential risk factors that are always around that contribute to maybe a higher risk for some of the children and for the adults. And so we have to pay attention to all of those factors.
Right. Is from the ages of 6 to 18 or 5 to 17, whatever the range is there, that's a significant number of children that can be involved in this or can have this issue.
That's right.
Wow.
And they're very impressionable at that time,
Right.
especially the very younger ones. The young ones are very susceptible to these environmental factors
Right.
around them.
And again, it's the quickness in spotting this issue or recognizing this issue and getting attention brought to it is to work with the child
Yes.
or children to go through it. I would think makes a lot of difference in the outcomes.
Right. Carol actually has a lot of experience in working with children, and maybe she can talk a little bit more about the impact that she's seen over her time in this field.
Well, children are the most impressionable from birth through age 8. So we try to work with them to get them to understand that that's not appropriate, what's taking place at home. So, and that they have a voice.
And for many of them, home is all they know.
Yes.
They've not been out in the community
Correct.
or with neighbors or strangers, or they've barely started school. So they reasonably would think that's the way to live and act.
That's basically what they have learned.
Right.
A lot of this is learned behaviors.
And so it can be unlearned.
Yes.
No, it's not unlearned, it's
Not
corrected.
unlearned, but corrected. Yes, you're right. It's correcting the behavior that's taking place in the home. So
Right.
working with the whole family. And Parents and Children Together really does work with the family. We try to make sure we take care of all angles or all aspects.
Interesting. Now, the core. I mean, there's no real time frame that you can say, okay, the problem's fixed. You just don't know.
You don't know, but you use tools to see where they're at. Yeah.
If you're on the right track.
Yes.
And what we do with our programs, with all of our programs, we're really just a little blip in the lives of these individuals. And we have them for very short periods of time, anywhere from maybe a month or two to maybe at most seven months. And even then, that's just a short period of time that we have an opportunity to help them with maybe some learning new skills, recognizing what some of the challenges are that are going on, how to respond to them appropriately, using some of those skills to be able to work together with their partners and with their children, use some of the parenting skills that they can get through a parenting program to work with their children. But really what matters most is that the sustainability of what they're able to do beyond any intervention we would make, because it really then, as you know, it comes down to them, their own choice as to whether they want to accept and will use some of this education and skills to help them going forward, because it's really their responsibility in the long term.
And there's no test that you can give them, pass or fail, at the end of treatment.
Not necessarily, but you can ask them the appropriate questions to see if they can give you the answers that you're looking for.
Gotcha.
Or at least that they've remembered what you've gone through for the past few months or the past few weeks.
And so hopefully they can understand the difference.
Yes.
And realize how much better life can be using some of these tools that you've taught them.
Yes.
And then the hope for the future is that should some situation present itself, they will use those tools.
To
and not fall
react
back
appropriately.
Right,
Yes.
right. Do you ever see success stories?
There's always somebody successful out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, because the real success may not come for years after you've finished working with them, right?
Well, you see them out on the streets. We live in our communities, so we do see a lot of our clients.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And it's very rewarding, actually, to see a family that's together and shopping at Costco or at Walmart, and you think, oh, wow, it looks like they're doing okay.
It's a good sign.
Yeah. And some of those folks, were 10, 15 years ago, in the services, that the brief moments that I mentioned that we had with them. And I'm not saying that, that our particular program or our services are responsible for their doing well. It's really, we're probably one of many services. That's what this is all about here in this community. It's being able to make use of all the resources that are available in the community, and lots of families do, and need more than one approach, more than one source of support. And if they can do that and not be ashamed of being able to ask for help when it's needed, there's a better chance for them.
Right. That's a great outlook, because just trying to think that you have to solve the problem would just be enormous. I mean, that's a burden none of us could handle.
Right.
And so knowing that we have related organizations that do similar things and can help kind of put the next piece together for them.
And that ties into, you need everybody in the village to raise the child. So
Right.
it is very appropriate to have everyone in the room.
Right. Very good. Well, on that note, we've got to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out what's happening in their worlds. And today we started off the show talking with Ken Hunt and Carol Vida. You use the last name also?
Vida Elenecki.
Vida Elenecki. Elenecki's a guitarist.
We're a big family. A huge family. My husband has 10 siblings.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Okay, so
But he is the guitarist.
He is the guitarist. I thought I remembered hearing him play at a couple of events that I attended.
Yeah.
And I remember the buzz was kind of like, oh, he's related to Carol. Okay, how's he related? Okay, now I know.
He's my husband.
He's your husband. He's definitely related. That's great. We're talking with Ken Hunt, who's the Maui Assistant Program Director, and Carol Vida, who is, we got to talk titles.
I'm a client advocate. I work with our women at my community correctional center, doing our anger control classes.
Okay.
And preferably giving them the tools that they need to make change when they come out. And I also work within our offices.
Okay. Now you've been working with clients at the correctional center for quite a while in your career.
For over 13 years. Yes.
13 years, wow. So I'll bet you've heard about every story there is.
Well, there's always something new to learn.
Okay, well, we'll stop with that. Ken, we were talking about you've got a kind of it's not, I guess it is a statewide event.
It is
coming
yes.
up as a fundraiser for the Parents and Children Together.
Right. Every year, the Parents and Children Together conducts what we call Keiki Day, and that event is coming up this coming month, Thursday, May the 9th. And what it involves is that all of the staff on all of our islands will be out basically on the street selling a special edition of the Honolulu Star Bulletin, which is devoted to teachers, parents, and children. And those newspapers that we'll be selling will be sold at a special price of $1 for the newspaper. And those funds then are turned right back around and brought into the various programs that we have here throughout the state. For example, all the money that we're able to raise here on Maui stays in Maui and will be directed at some of the programs and services that we've been talking about. So we'll have staff out probably by 7 a.m. that morning at various locations, including Queen Kahumanu Center, the Uptown Texaco, and the American Savings Bank on Main Street in Wailuku, as well as the special edition newspapers being sold at some of the
Market Street.
Right, on Market Street.
Yeah, American Savings is on Market Street.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that what I call it? What did I say?
I think you said
Street?
Main.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, no, the Texaco's on Main.
Yeah.
American
Thank
Savings
you.
on Market.
Thank you for
Yeah.
catching that.
Sure.
And some of the other banks will also be selling the special edition newspaper for us. So look for us out on the street. We'll be wearing purple probably, or different color Parents and Children Together T-shirts, and having smiling faces and selling our newspapers.
Waving the newspapers
Yeah,
and
At 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
just don't run out in the street.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I had my business over in Honolulu, you know, they took part in that, and they'd start out at the corner there of Bishop and King, busiest intersection, right?
Right.
And at 7 o'clock, that's when everybody's coming into town to go to park their cars, and they're frustrated from the commute to start with, and then we'd see people darting out to hand somebody a paper, and no, don't do that, you know. But I think they were very lucky all these years, but just don't take any chances.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of fun doing it, and we'll probably go to about noon or so on that day, and then we'll wrap up. And yeah, well, it's a fun thing to do.
Yeah,
Especially since the proceeds stay here on Maui.
right. And it's the whole thing. It's not a portion of it. It's the whole dollar.
That's right.
That's great. Okay. And so then that allows you to do some things that you couldn't do if you
Yeah.
didn't have that fundraiser. And Carol, do you get a portion of that for your program?
I hope so. We do a lot with the women, and so it's an hour-and-a-half class every week with them.
Okay. Now, is that, again, is that anger management or what?
It's anger management, but we also work with the whole shebang. If they want to talk about their children, I can switch over and work with them about their children. So as long as we stay on topic regarding anger control, it's a really good program.
I see. Okay. And then do they have to be serving a certain length of sentence or
It's open to anyone in the
anyone that's
facility.
incarcerated?
Correct.
Gotcha. Is it, I mean, do they commit to the class as an ongoing thing or can they come and go? Or?
We actually have them commit to the class, but if they're moved off island, they can be serviced on another island. If they come out of incarceration, we do have the classes that they can join at our offices. So we do have the anger control classes as
Okay.
well.
So it can be ongoing and
Yeah, so we
And then-
track all of their attendance, so when they come out, they can actually pick up from where they were.
okay. If they're what is it, on probation or whatever when they come out,
Correct.
could that be a requirement for them to
Yes,
continue?
there are a lot of them that are required to take the class, and that's why they're taking it while they're incarcerated.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So when they come out, they can just transition right into our program at the offices.
Interesting.
We've been fortunate to have a grant from Public Safety for the last 4 years now to conduct these groups and classes at MCCC. So we've always had, try to maintain on a consistent basis 2 groups for the women and 2 groups for the men. And I happen to do the groups for the men every week on a Friday. So I get to go into prison on Friday, and the best part is coming out.
Coming out. you get weekend off.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. But it's the same thing. It's the same kind of show. It's a combination of anger control and domestic violence incidents that have occurred in these guys' lives, and they can request to attend the class, or they can be directed to, depending on what the particular crime was. And again, like Carol says, we can give them credit for those classes once they leave the facility, as long as they're our classes that they are
Right.
attending. We will simply transfer them out of the prison classes into the classes that we have here on the outside.
Is anger a major component of almost every crime that's committed?
It's a good, I would say 80% of it.
Really?
That and drugs.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I would
It all
agree with that.
ties together.
They don't go on drugs because of anger.
Some of them do just to control. They think they're controlling it.
Oh. So they don't realize that they're what they're doing,
They don't realize what they're doing to themselves.
Mm.
Correct.
and by turn to others, and that's where the crime comes in.
Yes. And like I always tell the women, the reason why I'm in there trying to help them make a change is because they're going to come home to our community.
Mm.
And we need healthy community members.
Right. Interesting.
It's kind of a chicken and egg question, I think.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Because, you can look at cause and effect and all that kind of thing, but on the other hand, if you were to really dig deeper into why any of us do what we do, there's usually some underlying
Yeah.
Underlying trauma that took place when they were a lot younger. It starts out from when they're very young.
Okay, so we could go back to that, our first part of our discussion. Working with the children when some of these things come up can help keep them from going to that extent.
Yeah.
Yes.
We know for a fact that domestic violence can be intergenerational and multi-generational. It can be passed on not only in behaviors, but there's even some growing evidence now that it can be passed on through the DNA of the children from from past generations as well.
Wow.
Well, it's when you're pregnant, whatever's around you, the child's absorbing.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
it starts from intrauterine.
Okay. Yeah, that's why we hear things about music, play nice, soft music,
Correct.
talk to the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, okay.
If that baby's hearing yelling all the time, that becomes the norm for them.
Do they come out screaming?
Most of the time. I've
I
been
s-
through several deliveries, but most of them are screaming.
It's a common topic that I also facilitate a men's group here at our facility, and it's a common topic that we have with the men, and I'm sure the women too, about the impact of domestic violence on children. And even though they may not be physically in the room or physically present when it's going on, if they're in the next room or down the hall or even outside, they're listening to this, and they can't help but be a part of it. And of course, they want to be there. They don't have any choice but to
Right.
be there because that's all they know. And yet now they're becoming part of this
It's
trauma
like
that's
the
going
cycle.
on,
Right.
and it's
And-
having an impact on them.
And even if they don't hear it or know of it, there must be a lot of tension in the room when they do come in.
Correct.
And they know something has happened, and that kind of relates them back to when they are there.
Yes.
They know that that's the cause of what's going on right now. Wow, this is heavy stuff.
It is. So it's not something that you would generally talk about in a conversation at a
Dinner party.
yeah, dinner party. Right? But yet the truth is, honestly, it's all around us. We can look
Mm-hmm.
around our neighborhoods, around our own families, and
And it's not
And-
just in the lower income areas. It's all
Right.
over
it's
the
Right. Yeah. Interesting.
So thank you
Um,
for letting us talk about it.
Well, that's the fastest half hour there is. And I thank you both for coming. Carol, good to see you again.
Same here. Thank you.
And
Susan.
hope you're enjoying being at Parents and Children Together,
I am. Thank you.
working with Ken and Margot, who is
Right.
your
Right.
Maui program director.
That's right.
There must be some big session going on Oahu, because it seems like there's a bunch of executive directors and program directors who are over there this week.
Yeah, there is
It's-
a major conference on
IVAT,
which is the
International Violence. I forget what the acronym stands for, but it's a week-long
Yeah.
session.
Okay, because I know that Sonoy from Women Helping Women
Yes.
is over there, and it's like, whoa, what happened?
yeah.
It can
Okay,
only take so many people there.
uh,
The rest of us have to stay back and
you have
do
to
the
work,
actual work.
but then they bring back information that will
They
help you
do.
with the work.
Yes, they do.
That's always always a big piece.
We have about actually 3 or 4 people from our overall staff that are
Okay.
So,
Great, so Ken, Carol, thank you for being here and
Thank you.
sharing with our audience what's happening at Parents and Children Together. Phone number is 243
7001.
for more information, or you can take a look at their website at
Parents and Children.
www.pacthawaii.org.
okay, and be sure and check out the Maui
Keiki
pieces
Day.
and Maui Keiki Day on May 9th.
And
Get
anyone that's interested in applying for a position with us here in Maui can apply right through that website.
Oh, okay.
We are recruiting for a counselor advocate position and looking for a group facilitator for Lanai, and always looking for group facilitators that are on call here on Maui.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you very much, Susie.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank
Susie.
you. Have a good day. We'll see you all later.
Aloha.
Aloha. And now we're going to shift gears, and we're going to talk about something that is, every time I read information on kidney disease, they're always stressing the folks who have the most potential for getting kidney disease. And Hawaii seems to have all of those nationalities.
Yeah, important. So I'm Cassandra. I'm
I'm
with the
sorry.
National Kidney Foundation of Hawaii.
You're right. We've got Cassandra Ford, who's the Maui Community Health Manager for the National Kidney Foundation of Hawaii,
Yeah.
Maui branch.
Yes. So I just want to thank you for having me on.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us.
I'm very excited to be here and talk about the effects of kidney disease, and we have an upcoming event so that you could learn more about your kidneys. So, yeah, unfortunately, 1 in 3 American adults is at high risk for kidney disease. Kidney disease is much like, other conditions where it's known as the silent killer because you don't really know you have it. You don't start showing symptoms until you're later on in stage, and you're trying to play catch up rather than really take care of them when they're functioning fully. Hawaii has been known to have a 30% increased risk compared to the mainland. So a lot has to do with the ethnicities here. We eat a lot of food high in salt, which can affect the kidneys. We have a high rate of diabetes and hypertension, high blood pressure here on the island. So, but diabetes and hypertension are the leading two causes of kidney disease. So kind of just all plays a strong role.
I think from previous presentations that we've had here on the show about kidney disease, one of the things that's scary about it, I guess, is that some of the things that we normally would take as a clue that something's going on and it might be kidney disease is also the clue for so many other things. I mean, even just the flu.
Isn't that the thing? A lot of symptoms just kind of overlap. So there's really, we like to test two specific ways. Even at our kidney event, we always test for protein in the urine because that is a leading sign, an early on symptom of kidney disease. And then when you get your blood work done, they're always tests for the GFR, which is the glomerular filtration rate. I finally got it down after 3 years. I got it.
There you go.
But that's a good way to just kind of test the function of your kidneys. Right. So
I remember after one of the shows, I had my annual physical coming up, and I asked the doctor to put that on the list for the blood test, and she says, "Why?" And I said, "Because I just learned about it." Yeah. I said, "Do we do that normally?" And she says, "No, I don't normally do it." And kind of the basis of the conversation on the radio that couple weeks before was that it should be for an annual physical. It should be on there.
And then the other thing is, so not only that, but sometimes you get your lab work back and you have no idea what any of those things mean, right? So I try to educate people to be their own advocate, and the more you know and the more you know what to look for and understand related to your kidneys, then you could just kind of be your own advocate when it comes to things like that. So
right. Yeah. So and so when you say that we don't usually figure out we have a kidney disease issue until later on, are we at the point where we could be close to needing dialysis and things like that?
So typically when you get your GFR tested, it will give you a result of if it's greater than 60, your kidneys are basically functioning normal, maybe a slight decrease in function. And then once it gets below 60, they'll actually give you a number. So the National Kidney Foundation has created kind of a tool of the stages of kidney disease. So stage 5 is kidney failure, and that's any GFR less than 15.
Wow.
Stage 4 is severe loss of kidney function, which is 29 to 15. And then most commonly we see detection of kidney disease at stage 3A and stage 3B, which is anywhere from 59 to 30. So, that's really the time that you want to try to do anything that you possibly can to keep your kidneys healthy so that you don't get to those later stages. And you could treat it, kidneys are cool because if you treat them, if you know where you're at on the stage and you know the kidney function, you could try to stop the progression of kidney disease. So if you take care of them, it'll slow down the progression, which is why early detection is huge.
Right. Now, is there the kidneys? What they're filtering your blood? That's their function?
Yeah, that's their main function. They filter the blood, so they remove any toxins and waste out of your blood to make sure your blood is staying nice and healthy. They keep your blood pressure normal, which is why hypertension and high blood pressure is a leading cause of kidney disease, because if they're constantly needing to regulate that blood pressure, they're working overtime. They build strong and healthy bones by helping produce vitamin D, and they help make red blood cells. So they're super important.
Right. And you have 2.
You have 2, but you could just live with 1, which is really cool.
And I know somebody who's had surgery several times, and she claims she has 4.
Oh yeah. Well,
because they don't take them out.
Yeah. If you're a recipient of a kidney transplant, they actually just leave the kidney in there, and it just tends to shrivel up just like a mussel would. So you don't need to create any more room for them.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
On that note, we got to take a short break, and we'll be right back with Cassandra Ford of the National Kidney Foundation.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, your weekly radio show where we talk story with our nonprofit organizations to find out what's going on in their world. And today, in the second half of the show, we're talking with Cassandra Ford of the National Kidney Foundation of Hawaii, talking about what else? Kidneys. It's I guess the thing that bothers me about this, all the conversation about kidneys, is the fact that it can be so far, the damage can be so far progressed before you know that's what it is.
Yeah.
People talk about going through cleansing and all this kind of stuff. Does that help? I mean, if you eat a lot of junk, does that affect your kidneys?
Well, a healthy diet is good for all
Everybody.
conditions, right? So there's, research is they're trying to produce some sort of, connection with that. But, just a healthy diet in general is going to help you with any kind of chronic condition you have. And then a lot of water, because water will just kind of help your kidneys filter everything out.
And you mentioned salt, not using excessive amounts of salt.
Because that will decrease your chance for hypertension and will also, not make your kidneys work as hard.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we don't want to work too hard, right?
Yeah.
We want to work just hard enough.
Well, they have a lot of work to do,
Yeah.
especially, we all want to live to, 90, 95, 100, 105? And maybe, but not with kidney disease.
Yeah, not with kidney disease.
I mean-
No, because, when you go into kidney failure, the wait list for a transplant is extremely long. And while you're waiting, you're typically put on dialysis, which is a really burdensome commitment that you have to make. So they hook you up to a machine that basically works as your kidney, but you're going multiple times a week for up to 4 hours a day. So it's a huge time commitment for both you, and it's hard on your body and family members. So if you could try to not get to that point and keep them healthy, that's what we're really trying to, educate our community on.
Right. I guess I keep going back to that same issue about the different signals that your body sends of something's wrong, and you're not feeling good, quite right, but you don't know what it is. It seems to me like maybe kidney, as some sort of an analysis of your kidney activity, should come up higher on the list for doctors to test for if they're having trouble figuring out what's going on, why you don't feel like you should.
Yeah, I can't speak for the doctors, but we hope and encourage all physicians to, take a look at their GFR and other, protein in the urine, do a urinalysis. And then when we have our screenings, if we see any abnormal values, we always tell them to go see their primary care physician. So we hope that encourages people to be their own advocate too, and to take that back to the doctor.
Right. Now this, excuse me, the screening that's coming up on Saturday, June 1st
Yep.
at Queen Ka'ahumanu Center
Yes.
from 9 a.m. to noon. Basically, you just come on in and they do all the work.
Yeah. So, huge thanks to Queen Kahumanu Center. They've been, we've had this to kidney decline, I believe, 12 years now, maybe even 13, but we always get a great showing at Queen Kahumanu Center. So I want to thank them first. But basically, participants, patients can come in, they get their height, weight, blood pressure read. Then they get a blood glucose stick, which measures the glucose in the body. And if that's high, they'll get a full blood draw that tests for A1C. So, kind of where you're at, yeah, for diabetes. And then with that blood draw, they'll also get a GFR reading. Then they go up and they get a urinalysis, which we typically have nursing students oversight by their supervisor, but it's amazing experience for them. So they get a urinalysis, and the urinalysis is basically trying to detect any protein in the urine, any abnormalities.
And that's
within
tested
that.
right there.
That's tested right there, yep. And then you get the results right on the spot, and you get to sit down with clinicians, and they basically go over the results with you so that you leave there fully educated, fully aware of how you're doing, your kidney function, to the best of our ability. And then, there's a lot of vendors. We have nonprofit tables that are there to share their information. We have entertainment. The Maui Community Band will be playing for us, so we're really excited. And then we have Jimmy Mack and the Cool Cats that will be playing for us. So it's really a fun day. It's really good, and it just we hope people come out and try to have a better take on their health and
Right.
be their own advocate.
I seem to remember one story that somebody told about right after they had this, that a couple came in their, what was it? Do you remember this, Gary? Like in their 60s,
right, yeah.
and they felt okay, but they thought they were just getting older, right? And it turned out they both had kidney issues. And they never would have known it if they hadn't come to this.
Yeah, and that's the really cool thing is it's free and open to everyone. So you don't need insurance. You do have to be 18 years or older, but completely free. So you get a full lab workup just for for free, which
So,
is really cool.
So could the good news be that you don't have a kidney issue, but you might have prediabetes?
Yeah, exactly. And you could come and find that out. And, I know a lot of people are typically, I hear this all the time working in public health, they rather not know. And I understand it could be a scary thing, right? You don't really want to know what's wrong with you, right? Out of sight, out of mind, kind of continue on with your day. But like I said, it's so important to detect kidney disease early and your kidney function early so that you can do something to stop the progression, which is really cool. That's the best part about kidney disease is you can try to stop the progression or slow the progression at least. So in this case, it's so much better if you know so that you know how to handle it and how to take care of them.
Right. That's for sure. It's I guess it's kind of like one of those things that can creep up on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Until something's full blown
Exactly.
and you've got a problem, and you just keep testing to find out what it is.
Yeah, we meet a lot of people who, they had no idea, and they're already stage 4, close to stage
Ooh.
5, and you just rather not be there. Or if you are there, then at least we have resources for you, and you're at least you're aware of where you're at. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, and then the fact that you've got your results right there, and then it's up to you to follow through.
yes, so
They're not going to send the results to anybody.
right now we don't. I know it's been, we do have like a little, when you register, there's a little spot if you have a primary care physician. So we haven't in the past really sent them to primary care physicians, but I do think that could be something that we should look to potentially doing in the long run. So repeated tests cost a lot of money to our healthcare. So if we could help out in that aspect and then just kind of get these results on the physician's radar. So I'm not sure if they will be sent, but it's been in discussion. So,
I see, yeah.
But they get a copy of their results, so they could always just follow up with their PCP as well.
I know somebody who ended up in an emergency room a few weeks ago, got a call 2 days later from their doctor saying, we just got notice that you'd been in the emergency room. We got some of your test results. We'd like for you to come in. And they were just stunned. They said, my goodness, really?
Yeah.
And I guess this is all part of the electronic.
Yeah, that makes
medical
it a lot easier that,
Yeah.
you know, and physicians can kind of track where their patients are going. And it's good that you can kind of share that information over, you know, the multi-care team.
Yeah.
Makes it easier.
And so they said they kind of hesitated and thought, well, I'm feeling fine and everything was okay. But for some reason you had to go there. I mean, you felt bad enough that you needed that intervention.
Right.
And so they finally decided to go, and the doctor repeated a couple of the things that he thought, well, let's double check on these.
Yeah, and you know what? When you're in the emergency room or even at a screening like this, there's a lot going on, and you could feel overwhelmed. So sometimes it's good just to kind of do a follow-up so that you can hear things that you might have missed in the ER, or just, you know, to get that repetition too. It doesn't hurt.
Right. Well, it's a big day, June 1st. I think that anyone who's not had not paid attention to their kidneys, and it's kind of a hard thing to say, because how do you pay attention to your kidneys?
Right.
You know, either it's like they're working or they're not.
Yeah. And even if you come out and don't feel like you want to get the screening, obviously we encourage you, but there's going to be a lot of nonprofit booths sharing good information for you, a lot of resources. We're doing door prizes and giveaways. So it's going to just be an all-around entertainment. So it's going to be an all-around fun day.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. On another note, the kidney close.
No more.
No more. It's done.
Yeah. So Once Savers,
Ah.
yeah. So they were a huge help to us. So we still have it on Oahu, but once that shut down, then we had to kind of shut it down.
Kidney cars.
Kidney cars we just resumed, so it was on a little hiatus when we had some staff turnover, but that is resumed. So we take functioning running cars, and you could on the website there's information regarding that and contact information.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do you do like community programs? You go out and speak to groups?
Yeah, so we're always looking to do some kidney presentations. We also have diabetes programs. So we have a diabetes self-management program and a diabetes prevention program. So diabetes self-management is for those who already have a diagnosis of diabetes and looking to just be better self-managers. And then the diabetes prevention are those who have pre-diabetes and hoping to not get the diagnosis of diabetes. So just kind of education, and it's a really fun program.
Keeping under that number.
Yes, exactly. And then we also have a registered dietitian who comes over a couple times a month to see patients for a bunch of different diagnoses. It doesn't only have to be kidney or diabetes related. So she's been a huge help and a huge asset to the community. So definitely visit our website for any information on that. All of our contact information is there. And then I should just note, we are, it's a lot easier for us and a lot smoother if you pre-register. So if you have any, if you would like to sign up and get an early spot too for the kidney screening, if you could pre-register, that's really helpful for us.
Okay, and to register, they should...
They could either call Dawn Pasacala. She's our registered nurse, so she'll be in charge of the registration. So her email is dawn, DAWN, @kidneyhigh.org, or her number is 808-589-5905. But you could also always just call any number on our website, and they'll direct you to the right person.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, does this take place on every island on the same day, or
Not on the same day.
Okay.
So on Oahu, they just had their event on the week of World Kidney Day.
Oh,
So
okay.
theirs is always kind of in March. And then we try to do one every once in a while on Kauai and Big Island. I don't know. I think the last time we had it was maybe 2 years ago,
Okay.
but just staffing issues,
Right.
trying to it's a lot of work. But it's really important to us. So we're hoping to expand more and have more regular screenings on the outer islands as well.
Well, it sounds like, and I've always thought this was a great opportunity for people. So often they don't want necessarily to have their doctor doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never understood that. He or she is your doctor,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like those commercials on TV. Be sure and tell your doctor you have this
Yeah.
before he prescribes this to you.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, why
You
wouldn't
should know.
your doctor know?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, and I forget that some people do the doctor shopping thing, and they don't want everybody to know what's wrong with them if there's something. But I mean, my gosh, this is life or death.
Yeah, and the other thing is, a lot of people are working part-time jobs here on the island, and you're not always getting insurance through your healthcare provider. So I just think it's a good opportunity for those who may not be able to get regular checkups to be able to at least get an idea of where they stand health-wise, and if nothing else, get some resources on how to better take care of themselves.
Right. Is kidney disease something that kind of runs in the family?
Yes.
It
yes.
is.
So just because ethnicity is such a huge role, it definitely, if you're at a higher risk of developing it if it's in your family. So
I see.
definitely to keep an eye on that if that's the case.
Okay. And age is not a factor traditionally, or?
As you get older, your body kind of doesn't want to work as well. So, that kind of just goes hand in hand. But, it typically older adults are
Okay,
more
so
prone to it.
if you're in your 20s and you just kind of feel a little sluggish, maybe it's not kidney disease, but why not go and take the test?
Yeah, absolutely, because we're also checking, for diabetes, so and hypertension, high blood pressure. So it's not only, though it's a kidney early detection screening. There's so much more than just kidney disease.
Right.
So definitely come out. You could get your blood pressure. Your blood work done. Our blood work also tests for cholesterol levels, so you just kind of have a better understanding all around.
Right. So you may just find out that one piece of information that's gonna, in the long run, save your life or make your life better.
Yep. And even if it's all normal and it's only 20 minutes of your time, right? And at least you just know where you stand.
You got it. Cassandra, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it, and hope to see everyone June 1st.
There you
9
go.
a.m.
At Queen Kahumanu Center for Kidney Early Detection Screening, basically called the Kidney Decline Day.
The Kidney Decline Day, yes. A Lions Club member named it that, and it has stuck. And big shout out to them, too. They always help us set up and break down. And then I just want to mention Project Vision will also be there. So they'll have their vision bus giving out free glasses to those who need it. So that's really exciting, too.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cassandra.
Thank you, Susie.
Appreciate it. Maui Nonprofit Notes is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Please give them a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Bayshard on East Oahe Way to see how they can help you with your building project. Pacific Source has been our sponsor from day one, and we thank them for their ongoing support. To you, our listeners, we thank you for the response our agencies get from you regarding the activities we talk about on this program. Maui Nonprofit Directors Association's mission is to provide personal and professional support to nonprofit executive directors, their organizations, and the community of Maui. Please visit our website at mauinonprofit.org for a list of agencies. If you see one there that you're interested in learning more about, click on their website and take a look at what they do. Maybe there's a volunteer opportunity for you there. Today we visited with Parents and Children Together and with the National Kidney Foundation of Hawaii and got an update on what their agencies are doing. Mahalo for tuning in. Don't forget to join us again next week right here on Wednesday at noon on KAOI Radio. That's 11:10 a.m., 96.7 FM, and 96.5 FM on the west side, and 98.7 upcountry and central, when we'll be featuring representatives of two other member agencies of the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association. Until then, I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week, everyone. Aloha.